Hello, welcome to my channel, Share Your Story. Today we invite Tom from Balance Tai Chi to share his story. Hope you like it.
Yeah, today I thought I would talk about how I became a Tai Chi instructor. Going back, it probably started when I was in elementary school. I was kind of a wild kid. The teachers would always contact my parents and tell them that your son lacks self-control. In today's parlance, it would probably be, I would be diagnosed as ADD or ADHD, and so my parents heard about judo, and they're saying that could help him out. It'll teach him discipline and maybe burn off some extra energy. So my parents took me to judo classes, and I was actually pretty good at it. I liked it, and so that was my first introduction to martial arts. And then probably that was all through elementary school. Then came junior high, and I noticed I stayed small, and not that I'm big now, and everybody else got big. And being small, I kind of got picked on quite a bit, and being somewhat of a smart ass, that probably didn't help neither. So I asked my parents, well, you know, karate was starting to get popular. Maybe I need karate lessons. Could you take me to karate? And they said, well, no, can't afford it. You got an older brother in college we're paying for. You got an older sister in college we're paying for. Your younger sister's got orthodontic work she needs. So we really don't have the time and the money. So I guess I kind of had to just deal with it. And then by the time I got into senior high, or my last year of junior high, I ended up getting some work. I started working picking mangoes for a local farmer, and I did some restaurant work, and now I had money, and with some money I bought myself a motorcycle. Because back then, if you were 15 years old, you could drive a motorcycle with just a restricted license. So now that I had a motorcycle and a little bit of money from working, I said, well, now I can take those lessons I want. But instead of taking karate, what happened was, it was the time that Kung Fu came out, the television show with David Carradine. And of course, and then Bruce Lee hit the movie theater. And so now I said, well, I don't want karate, I want Kung Fu, because that's what Bruce Lee does. And so after that, everything was Bruce Lee. I wanted to be like Bruce Lee. He was my hero. So I enrolled in the only Kung Fu school in Dade County that I knew of, and it was in Coral Gables. And I took Kung Fu lessons, and then I practiced like almost every day because Bruce Lee practiced. And I bought a heavy bag to hit and kick because that's what Bruce Lee did. Yeah. And I had nunchucks. I made my own nunchucks, you know, because he was on the movie, and I had posters of him in my bedroom. I mean, most kids my age, and then especially, had posters of pinup girls, Suzanne Summers, Farrah Fawcett, Raquel Welch. What did I have? Bruce Lee posters.
That sounds like teenagers.
Yeah. So I did that, and then I think like my senior year, I even started taking boxing lessons at a local gym in Coconut Grove, because again, Bruce Lee learned to box, and he added that as part of his style. And then my senior year, I ended up getting a job working in Publix supermarket, and so they've been around along. You figure that was over 40 years ago. And I met this Chinese fellow. We got good friends. He was a bag boy too, and he was also a black belt in Kung Fu. Okay. Yeah, very good. And he told me about Tai Chi, and I never heard. Well, what's Tai Chi? Because now everybody's heard now of karate and Kung Fu, but nobody knows of Tai Chi back then. And he goes, well, there's this guy in my church. He's a Tai Chi master. Maybe I can set up a time when we can go down there and you can meet him. So I said, yeah, I'd like that. So we went to this man's house, and this old guy, small, very skinny, and of course he might not have been that old. That when you're 16 years old, anybody over 40 looks old to you. So how old he really was, I don't know. But
So you were, at that time you were still high school.
Still in high school.
Start learning.
Yeah. That's when I heard about Tai Chi. So we went to his house, and we're talking, and so I said, well, how does it work? He goes, well, throw a punch at me. So I go, like this. I don't want to hurt the guy. I throw a punch. He goes, no, really, throw a punch. So I go, a little faster. No, really, try to hit me. I said, okay. So I get up and I give my best. I aim right for him, and before I knew it, with the grace, he ended up pulling me, and I went across the room.
What?
And I don't know how he did it. I mean, I didn't hardly feel a thing, except all my energy was now rediverted. So I'm going, I like this Tai Chi.
Sucking you.
Right, he sucked me in, and I said, someday I'm going to learn Tai Chi. And then we talked a little more. He showed me a few other things, and kind of after that, it went to the back of my mind. And then after that, I went off to college. And so I didn't take any formal Tai Chi classes or box because I was busy, with classes. But I did find people that also took martial arts, and we'd get together and show each other our styles, and we'd sometimes get together and spar. And I joined a boxing club also in college and did some of that as well. And then college ended, and I ended up doing some odd jobs here and there, and again, no real martial arts. Then I ended up joining the Navy. And now my focus switched on getting in shape because I got accepted to dive school. And you had to be in really good shape. So now I was running and swimming and doing push-ups and pull-ups and sit-ups. And that was my whole focus now because I wanted to make sure I got in and didn't flunk out. And so I did that, and I got in pretty good shape. And then after my stint in the Navy, I kind of ended up working, that's when I moved to Rhode Island. I ended up getting a job working for the state of Rhode Island as a forester. And I more or less continued, strength training and endurance. So I was running all the time, and I was doing some weightlifting and that kind of stuff. And then what happened about, late 30s, my body started going south on me.
Going south?
Yeah, it means it started to fall apart. Going south, yeah. I was getting shoulder pains, both shoulders. My knees hurt. My hips hurt.
Oh, that's going south.
Yeah, so I talked to the doctor and went to him, and he said, you can't keep doing that stuff. It's going to wreck your body. And so I ended up getting shoulder surgery, and now I said, well, now what am I going to do? And around that time, my wife saw a Tai Chi class offered at a local recreational center, and she decided to take it. She goes, you want to come? And I guess I was still kind of in a down state. No. And she goes, it's a lot of fun. And finally I said, yeah, I'll go. And then I kind of forgot that I always wanted to do it. And I started going. I go, yeah, I like this. And so I started going. I got pretty good at it. And that time my wife said, this is not for me. And she dropped out, but I stuck to it. And
you have seeds in your heart when you was in that high school already.
Right, that's right. And then it kind of came back to me, and I go, yeah, this is what I always wanted to do. And so now I'm doing it, and I did it for a couple years, and then it started to go stale. And the reason being is he was a good instructor, But he taught this course through the recreation department, and what happened was every 10 weeks he had to start all over again because you got new students and they didn't know anything. So, he'd do some things for the people that stuck with him, but after a while, you only learn so much.
Yeah,
and
circle.
Yeah. So I asked him, I said, is there anyone else around? No offense, but we're kind of doing the same thing. He goes, no, I understand. There's a guy named Dr. Peter de Blasio, and in Providence, Rhode Island, or actually Pawtucket, and he's really good. He's well renowned. I recommend visiting him. See if you like that. So they've made the long drive. Now it's like 50 minutes to an hour sometimes, depending on the weather and the traffic to get to class, but I said it's worth it. So I started taking classes from him, and he was really good, like everyone said, and he's been doing it for 40 or something years, and he was still taking lessons from a guy named Master Dong Zen Shin out of Hawaii. So he would actually go to Hawaii and take private lessons, and then he would actually get the master to come to Rhode Island and teach, instruct the students. So I benefited from that fact. He would put on these workshops, 3-day workshops, seminars, and he'd come down and teach Peter, or Dr. de Blasio, as well as the class. So for years, I kept, attending Dr. de Blasio's classes, as well as all the seminars that Master Dong Zen Shin would come down and teach. And what really started to happen was, I found, was the low impact and the medicinal values of Tai Chi. I started healing, and now I was getting my strength back. My hips didn't hurt, my legs didn't hurt, my knees didn't hurt, my shoulders didn't hurt, and I was getting stronger from doing the Tai Chi. And then I said, I've always, as I've driven around the beaches, I saw people windsurfing and surfing, and now I said, well, I'd like to do that. And now that I'm feeling good and I got the confidence from the Tai Chi and the balance now, I actually learned how to surf, I learned how to windsurf, and I'm still doing it today at 65 years old.
Oh, just because you have very good Tai Chi.
Right.
That's...
Right. I mean, probably most people, of course, don't do Tai Chi and then surf, but most people start when they're younger, where they aren't, you got the natural balance. So I started late in life. I didn't start either till I was in my mid-40s. But I think the Tai Chi, giving me the balance and the leg strength and everything like that, and the patience, allowed me to stick with it and learn how to do it. And then, so now it's getting near retirement, and I think one of the last times Master Dong came, both him and Peter said, well, they noticed my enthusiasm, and they noticed my skill level getting better and better, and they said, you ever thought about teaching? And I said, well, not really. I said, well, you should. You're getting pretty good. You should teach. And I said, well, I don't want to teach here. There's already a good instructor, and I'm still learning. But I thought to myself, well, maybe when I retire, I'll open up a Tai Chi school. So once I retired, and I knew at that point I was going to come to this area. When I bought the land that we're sitting at and being filmed at, and so I decided to build a house on it. And being I like to surf and windsurf, and I really wanted the warm weather, that's how I picked this area, the town of Cocoa, Brevard County, and ended up here. So then I thought to myself, well, now that I'm retired, do I really want a building, a brick and mortar building where I have to make payments and I got utilities and all this stuff, and if I ever want to go on a long vacation, someone's still got to pay the rent and all that. So I said, maybe I'll just teach out of other places. So that's what I ended up doing. I've taught out of for the county at their parks and rec departments. I've taught at senior assisted living facilities. I've done private lessons, and now currently I teach at a senior center, Martin Anderson Senior Center in Rockledge, Florida, and I also teach at a rec center at Cape Canaveral, Florida. And all that information can be found on my website, www.balancedtaichi.com. And as a matter of fact, as you know, it was that website was designed by your husband, James Turner of My Island Design. Just a shameless plug there, but so that's where I am now. So here I am still teaching. It's been close to 7 years now, and still loving it.
That's great. What advice would you give to someone who is interested in starting to practice Tai Chi?
That's a good question. I say the most important thing is patience. A lot of people that come to me and want to start Tai Chi, I'll ask them, well, how'd you hear about Tai Chi, or what do you know about it? And they'll mention, oh, I saw it on a commercial, or I saw some videos of these people in the parks in China, and it looks so graceful and looks so beautiful, and you know, it looks pretty easy, and you know, so I say, well, it is graceful and it is beautiful, but it's not easy. I said, those people that you saw in China, they've probably been doing it their whole lives, or you know, it's part of their culture. They've been doing it 30 and 40 years. That's how, you know, when they're that age, they can still do it and look good. So I tell people the most important thing is patience, because you're not going to get it overnight. You're not even going to get it in a month. You're not even going to get it in a year. It's going to take you, they say, if you practice, the average person, you know, and that's assuming you're at a fairly young age, a good year to learn the entire form. And at our age, with other things going on, you're probably looking at about 3 years. But you will learn it, and you will get it as long as you stick with it and have patience. And I also tell them, you know, if you'll do it at your own level, the hard part isn't the physical part. You know, if you can't bend down that far, you only bend down as far as you can. If you can't lift your arm over your head because you got a shoulder injury, you don't have to lift your arm overhead. Do as high as you can. But the hard part is sticking to it and knowing and remembering, where do I step next, and all the little intricacies of the form that make it flow very smoothly. And that just takes time.
I agree. The patience is very important. Everything you really want to learn, that's the first thing you should have. So how would you describe your teaching style, or what sets it apart from others?
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I teach in some ways similar. I mean, most Tai Chi instructors teach what they call the form, which is a series of broken down into moves or postures, and they're all linked together, and that's what creates a Tai Chi form. But a lot of Tai Chi places teach strictly what they call for the health benefits and balance, and that's probably my #1 priority too. But I also teach, I believe, in the martial applications, and not because they're going to learn to really defend themselves from the class I teach them, but I find if they know why they're doing the various moves they're doing, then they'll get better at it, and their Tai Chi will get better. In the Red Book, one of my books by Master Zhong Jinji, he says, you know, you need the civil as well as the martial. So if you, well, actually, I'll just kind of use hand movements. If you do something like pull, and your hands are way out, it may look very graceful, but it really doesn't do anything if you ever had to use it. Whereas if you did pull close to you, you realize you got one hand behind the elbow, let's say, and one on the wrist, and you're actually creating a lock, and you're pulling the person. So just moving your hands a little and thinking about why you're doing each move. Now, the very beginning, you should just try to learn the form because it takes so long. But once you learn it, I try to get people to pretend there's an imaginary opponent. So every move they do, when they bring up their arms for something, or they bring their leg up, or they do something, there's always an intention why they're doing what they're doing, and it makes the Tai Chi form come alive, and it looks stronger, and basically it helps your Tai Chi, and therefore if your Tai Chi is better, your health is better. It was funny. I went to this one workshop by another master named Yang Zendo, and in his broken English, because he's right from China himself, he would make this saying. He would say, anybody that does Tai Chi will have reap very good success, but if they do it correctly, it's even better. So I try to get people to understand, don't worry too much. At our age, especially the average age of people taking my class are all in the mid-60s and older. But it's just, I emphasize if you can think of why you're doing what you're doing and not consider just a choreographed dance, you'll achieve a lot better results from it.
Thanks for your answer.
We do that, so she's pushing, she's yang. Now, if I'm yang, we're both yang, you push, keep more open, there you go, and drop your elbow a little there. So now we're both yang, we're pushing. So now I go yin, but if she keeps pushing, keep pushing as I go yin. It's the same direction. Keep pushing, keep see, now she's off balance.
Yeah.
Because, so by me being weak, I became strong because she overextended. When you see the yin-yang symbol, it goes around and then eventually it goes back to weak and back to strong. That's that yin-yang symbol. And that's what we're doing here. I go weak.
Because I'm too strong, then become...
Right, and then you're the strongest here, but if you keep going strong, now you're weak.
Okay.
Now I'm strong, same thing. If I go and I push, now I'm weak. So we're doing something called Tui Chow, or in English would be push hands. We're doing it with one hand, and it's basically it's using the other. It's doing yin and yang. It's give and take. One person pushes, the other person follows. The whole time you're trying to stick with the other person, and you're trying to get to the person's center to get them off balance ultimately. But that person doesn't want you, so that person's going to give. What you don't want to do in this is turn into a Greco wrestling match. You're not there. If both persons are locked and pushing, then neither one is giving. So it's give and take, it's push and pull, it's yin and yang. And this is an exercise that teaches you how to give and take, and it's really, it takes what you learn by doing the Tai Chi form and putting it into practical use. So we're just going to do a little demonstration here and show you what it looks like. Okay. Drop your elbow a little. Drop there. So you push right here. There you go. Push hard, you just let me go. I'm going to follow. You don't have to do anything. Oh, good one.
That's a beautiful start. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for you sharing your experience and expertise of Tai Chi. And,
well, thank you. I enjoyed the interview. You did a great job, and I think you got potential as a Tai Chi student. New Tai Chi student.
Sure, yeah. I maybe will come to you someday.
Oh, good.
Because I'm like your report of balance to fix my health problem too. So I guess your students, they are fortunate to have you to teach them too.
Oh, thank you.
Best of luck for you. you and your students of the Tai Chi journey.
Thank you.
Thank you for your watching.
If you would like to share your story, visit our website at shareyourstory.chat.